interactive classes where you can ask any sort of doubt, any confusion will be cleared in the classes only, and the teacher will explain each and every topic in the classes. Fine. Secondly, we give personalized attention to each and every students in our batches because our batches consist of maximum number of 6 students, not more than that. So it also help us to keep an eye on you. We can understand how you are doing in the class, how you are improving, where you are lagging, and accordingly you will be able to improve by getting the feedback, right? Thirdly, have a very good dedicated academic mentor team who continuously track and work on the students' progress. So, how you are doing in the homework, how you are doing in the classwork, how you are performing all the examination of each and every topic, everything is tracked by our academic mentor team, and accordingly, you will get the feedback and it will help you to improve, right? Fourthly, which is very important, that we covered the syllabus as per your school examination schedule. So, if you have any chapter previously in your school examination, you can tell us and we will do that chapter first, and then we will move on to the next chapter, right? So this type of custom request we generally handle, right? So these are the general features of Swiflearn. Let us find out what are the key features of Swiflearn. So our key features are, we have the detailed progress report of each and every student. Over there, you will find that how you were doing in the class, how you were performing in the homework, what are the marks you have scored in the different tests by practicing the different practice tests after completing each and every topic, how you were understanding the different topic in the classes. Everything is actually present in this progress report, and we give you in the different time intervals so that you will be able to understand where you are lagging, where you need to improve, where you will have to give more time, and it will help you to score more, right? Secondly, we have the Swiflearn academic test series, in short, which we call as the SATs, where you will be able to perform and you can understand where you are ranking, right? Thirdly, you can take unlimited practice test after completing each and every topic of all the subjects, and you will be able to understand where you were lagging, where you need the improvement. And this test series actually mm, consist of all sorts of questions, like the objective as well as the subjective questions. Like in case of the objective, you can get the different questions of one word or true false, or it can be the match the column, or you can get like the MCQs, very important. So these types of questions are there, as well as we have the subjective test for your school examinations, which is very important. Like in some certain case, you cannot understand what are the key words you were missing out, or what are the key points you need to like include in a specific type of answer, right? You have to write the answer according to its marks, whether it is 2 marks or 3 marks or 5 marks. So you have to write it according to the marks so that you will get the full marks, right? So this type of test also you can take after completing each and every topic, right? So these are the key features of Swiflearn. So to experience all these features, please book a free trial class and experience all these things from Swiflearn, and I'm very much sure that you will learn a lot with us, right? Okay, so as you have already done, I know that most of you have already done, that is the subscription of our channel. So if you have not done, please subscribe our channel now in YouTube and press the bell icon so that you will be updated by all the upcoming classes of Swiflearn in YouTube, right? So please stay with Swiflearn, like, comment and share with all your friends and family members. Okay, so now let us move on to the topic. So today's topic of discussion, as you already know, it is the soil. So soil is present in CBSE class 7. So we have already done 2 sessions of soil, the first and the second session. So today we will do the third session of the soil, where we will mainly learn about the moisture content in the soil and the water absorption by the soil. So how much water is present, which type of soil actually absorb how much amount of water, it is based upon the different types of soil, right? You have already studied the different types of soil in the previous session, है ना? Clay soil, loamy soil and sandy soil, है ना? Okay, so we will study more about it, how they absorb the water by doing the different types of experiments. Then we will move on to the various types of crops which are growing in the different soil, right? So obviously, depending upon the different particles or the different nutrients or minerals which are present in the soil, we can grow the different types of crops in the various types of soil, right? So which crop actually grows in what type of soil, we will study today, right? And the last thing which is very important, that is we will study about the soil erosion. So, what do you mean by soil erosion? What are the bad effects of soil erosion? As well as what are the different causes of soil erosion? We will all discuss all these things, and then we will move on to how to prevent this soil erosion. Fine? Okay. Hi, Sia. Ma'am, when will be class 6 started? It will start soon. Okay. Great. And also the class 6 chapters are going on. You can just search the different YouTube sessions of Swiflearn. Okay, great. So let us find out about the soil today, right? Now, have you ever seen while passing through a farmland or by the side of the agricultural field during the very hot summer days? Have you seen a different type of thing on the soil or something shimmery? Yeah. Yes. Have you seen anything? Right, so we generally notice the thing that the air which is present just above the soil or the land, it shimmers, right? Do you know how does it happen? Yes, any idea? Yes. Okay, actually what we generally see, that we have also studied about the different properties of the soil. There we have studied that the soil absorbs the water, right? In the previous session we have already seen this, right? So we know that the soil contain the water, right? The moisture content of the soil we generally call it, right? So due to the sunlight, the water from the soil begins to evaporate and it turns into the water vapor just at the upper level of the topmost portion of the soil, right? So what will happen? This water vapor, when they reflect the sunlight, it appears to be shiny and it looks like something is shimmering, right? Over there. So let us understand with the help of the experiment how it actually works, right? Please look into the video. Okay, so what we have already studied over here, what we have seen in the experiment, that when we are heating the soil, some water vapor is coming out, and same thing happen in case of the agricultural field also, right? So while the water vapor is evaporating, it is coming towards the upper most tube of the boiling tube, and it is condensing, and we can see that the water droplets are present over there, right? So similar type of thing happens in the hot summer days when the vapor come out from the soil and it reflects the sunlight, and that is why the air just above the soil seems to be shimmering, right? Yes, understood the concept now? Okay, now let us find out the absorption of water by the soil. So, as we already have understood that the soil are different because the presence of the different types of particles within it. The particles which are present within the soil are of different shapes and different sizes, and that is why they absorb the water in different ways, right? So the water absorption capacity also depends upon the how much porous the soil is, right? So we can say that the clay soil and the loamy soil are the most porous soil, and that is why their water absorption capacity is the highest, right? So hence we can retain the water in large quantities. This type of soil, like the clay soil and the loamy soil, generally retain the water in large quantity rather than the sandy soil. So in case of the sandy soil, what happened, they cannot retain that much amount of water, or they cannot absorb, or they cannot actually hold that much amount of water. They actually, what happens in case of the sandy soil, the water drains out, right? Okay. Now you have also studied that the different crops grow in the different types of soil. So why does it happen? Because of the different absorption capacity of the soil, right? Water absorption capacity of the soil. As the sandy soil does not help to absorb that much amount of water, that is why it does not support that much amount of vegetation to grow, right? But in case of the clay and the loamy soil, what we found is the water absorption capacity is very high, and that is why the various types of crops also grow in the case of clay soil and the loamy soil, right? So let us find out how the soil actually absorbs water with the help of an activity. Okay, let's find out. Okay, so over here in this experiment, we have already seen that we have taken 50 gram of the soil, right? So you can take the different types of soil for doing the different experiments, this type of experiment, right? So over here, the initial volume of the water in the measuring cylinder, let it be U ml. Okay, U milliliter. And the final volume of the water which is present in the measuring cylinder is the V milliliter, right? Now, how will you understand how much water has been absorbed by the soil? So the volume of the water which is absorbed by the soil, we can find out by subtracting the U minus V, means subtracting the V, that is the final volume, from the initial volume, right? So we can get the volume of the water by this, right? U minus V milliliter. And the weight of the water absorbed by the soil, we can also get it by this, the same thing. So how will you be able to understand out how much percentage of the water is absorbed over here? Yes, so U minus V, that is the initial volume of the water minus the final volume of the water, into 100 divided by 50. And that is how we will be able to understand that how much amount of water, or how much percentage of water is absorbed by the soil. So you can repeat this type of activity again and again with the help of, by taking the different types of soil sample from the different area. Okay, you can take it from the different states also by going to the different, like desert soil, you can get the sandy soil. You can go to the coastline for taking the sandy soil, or you can go to the river bed generally, which you will find in the Ganga, or the river beds of Godavari and Krishna. So you will get that clay soil over there, as well as you can go to the loamy soil, and you can go to the different states like Punjab, UP, Haryana, where you will find the loamy soil, and you can collect the soil and do the experiment, and there you will be able to find out which soil is absorbing maximum amount of water, right? Up to this much clear? Okay, so by performing all these activities, as well as we have already have an mm, idea about the different properties of the different types of soil. So from all this we can conclude that the clay soil can absorb maximum amount of water, right? So the absorption of water, or the water absorption capacity of the clay soil, is the highest. It is a little bit lesser in case of the loamy soil, and it is lowest in case of the sandy soil. Fine, up to this much clear? Yes, because the sandy soil cannot hold that much amount of water. Rather, the water drains to it because the particles are very large in size and very loosely packed. Right? We have also studied the different properties of the soil. है ना? Okay. Now let us find out some of the more properties. Now, first we will study about the texture of the soil, right? So, how or on what factor does the texture of the soil depend upon? It actually depends upon. Hi, Abhay. How are you? Okay. So, how actually this texture or on what factor this texture is depending upon? It actually depends upon the particles of the soil. What particles are present within the soil? Is it a larger particle or very fine, very small particles present, or a medium size of particle? Okay, so the different kinds of soil have the different texture due to the various types of particles which are present within the soil. If I think about the sandy soil, we can find the particles are larger particles and they are not that much packed. They are very loosely packed, right? They are not that much tightly packed. Yes, Abhay, I'm fine. Thank you. Okay, now let us find out the color of the soil. So, if you go to the different places and collect the soil, you will find that the soil color is also different in the various places, right? Sometimes you will find that some soil is like more black in color, blackish in color. Some soil are reddish in color. Some are like the sandy soil. You can find it is like the golden colored sand. You can find it in the beaches, right? Sea beaches. Okay, so it also depends upon the various types of minerals which are present within the soil, right? So, for example, let us think about the black color of the soil. So, why the soil is black in color? Because of the presence of the humus and the different minerals. So, already I have told you what is humus, right? It gives the dark coloration to the soil. It is the dead organic materials, right, which are present in the soil, which actually help to increase the fertility of the soil, right? Next, we have also studied about the red soil. Do you know what is actually present in the red colored soil? You can find it over here. The second sample is having the reddish in color, very reddish in color. Yeah. The different type of minerals is present, right? Like the iron. Iron is present in large quantity in this red soil, and that is why it is red in color. Okay. So it depends upon the different types of minerals which are present within the soil, and that is why the color of the soil is also different from each other, right? Fine. Now let's move on to the pH of the soil. So what do you mean by the pH? That is power of hydrogen. Means it actually says whether anything is acidic or basic or it is neutral, right? So over here you can see the pH scale. So 7 is the neutral, where we can see that the soil sample is, if I think about the soil sample, then we will see that 7 matlab the soil is not that much acidic or it is not that much basic, right? When it is going upward like 8, 9, 10, and 11, we will find that the pH value of the soil is basic. Okay. uh, and when we will go lower than 7, that is 6, 5, 4, 3, we will find that the soil is acidic. Okay, when the pH value is decreasing, we will find that the acidity will increase, right? So, like this, we will be able to find out what is the pH of the soil. And based upon this pH of the soil, there are the various types of crops which can grow. Okay, so some crops can tolerate the acidic soil a little bit acidic. Some can generally prefer or tolerate the basic type of soil. So, depending upon the different pH value of the soil, the various types of crops actually grow. Clear, up to this much? Next is the air content. It is a very important factor which is present in the soil, that is air. So that is why just before the agriculture or agricultural practices or just sowing of the seeds, what we do, we generally the farmer used to plow the soil, right? Because to mix the nutrients of the soil as well as it let the air to go inside the soil. Why do you think that it is very much important for the air to go inside the soil? Do you have any idea? Yes, because there are a lot of living organisms which are present within the soil. It includes the microorganisms as well as the various types of insects, termites. We can see the earthworm which are present, the centipede, millipede. These are all present within the soil. And how will they breathe? They will also need air for their breathing, right? They will also need air for their survival. है ना? So that is why the air content within the soil is also very much important, right? So it again will depend upon another factor, that is how much tightly or how much loosely the different particles of the soils are packed, right? Like say about the sandy soil, the particles within the sandy soil are very large in size, and that is why they are very loosely packed. If you take up a handful of sand and if you just make some a little bit like gap in between the finger, you will find it that the sand will go down, right? It will fall on the ground, like because the particles which are present within the sandy soil are not that much tightly packed. But if you just take the clay soil and if you make a ball, yeah, and if you just make this much amount of gap in between the finger, will you see that the clay soil will drop on the ground? No, it will not, never pass through the in between the finger, right? It will stay in your hand because they are very much tightly packed. The particles which are present in the clay soil are very tightly packed and it will never go out of your hand. Okay, so the air often occupies the space in between these particles, and this actually allow the survival of the all the different types of living organisms who actually live in the soil. Up to this much clear? Everyone, if you have any question, please ask me. Please write it in the chat box. Okay, now let us find out what are the main different factors on which the soil is different in and the soils are present in the different regions or the different places. It depends upon the wind of the place, okay, the light, rainfall, humidity and the temperature. These are the five factors for the different kinds of soil. That is why the different kinds of soils are found in the different region all over the world as well as all over our country, right? Yes. Okay, let's now find out based on the climatic condition how the different types of soils are there and how the different types of crops are cultivated in these different types of soil, right? So first of all, as you already know that the clay soil and the loamy soil are mostly suitable for the growth of the wheat and gram because of the water retaining capability, right? So the water holding capacity of the clay soil is the highest, as we have already studied it, and a little bit lesser in case of the loamy soil, which help to grow a lot of crops to grow in this soil, right? But in case of the sandy loam or mainly in the loamy soil, sandy what are the different crops which can grow? They are the cotton, and generally the sandy soil we know that they drain most of the water easily. They do not have that much amount of water holding capacity. Clear hai? Okay, now let us move on to what are the different crops which are grown in the different types of soil. So, as we have also studied about the three types of soil in detail, their properties, their characteristic features, their water holding capacity, and the different particles which are present. So, now let us find out what are the different crops which are suitable for growth in the different types of soil. So we have studied about the three main types of soil. One is the sandy soil, clay soil and the loamy soil. So what are the crops mainly growing in the sandy soil? Mainly the potato, lettuce, corn, pepper. We can see the radish. These are the different types of crops which are generally grow in the sandy soil. And we get the sandy soil mainly in the arid region or the semi-arid region and along the coastline, right? Now coming to the clay soil. So clay soil actually help to grow the different crops which are mainly cabbage, we can say the cauliflower, broccoli, kale, the beans, sprouts. These are the main crops which grow in the clay soil, and clay soil generally we will find in the river beds of Godavari, Krishna river or the Gangetic plain. You can see mostly you can find this clay soil in Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu side and Madhya Pradesh also. Fine. Okay, now coming to the loamy soil. So loamy soil is mostly present in the different states of India, like we can see the Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana. These are the different states where you will find the loamy soil, and the different crops which are which grow in this loamy soil are apple, carrot, tomato, um, cucumber, we can say like the various pulses, the oil seeds. Okay, these are very much, they are actually favorable for their growth in this loamy soil. So up to this much, I guess it's clear to you. Yes, if you have any question, please ask me again. Okay, now let us move on to the last portion of this chapter, that is the soil erosion. So what is soil erosion? Any idea? That is the removal of the topmost layer of the soil by the various types of activities, the physical types of activities, or we can say the different natural calamities also. Sometimes it can due to the water, due to the wind, or due to the overgrazing of the different animals, right? So these process of the removal of the topmost layer of the soil is known as the soil erosion. Clear hai? So soil erosion is a process of the removal of the topmost layer of the soil. Clear hai? With the help of the different physical forces. Now coming to the different effects of the soil erosion. So what are the different effects of soil erosion? First of all, the soil erosion kills the organisms which live inside the soil. So what are the different organisms live inside the soil? We can say the microorganisms, the various insects, the earthworm, centipede, millipede, they all present, and also sometimes the by burrowing the soil, burrowing the ground, the different rodents are also present in the soil, right? So these types of animals will be killed or will not be able to survive if there is no soil and the soil erosion takes place, right? And secondly, in such a situation, the strong wind, what will happen? The strong wind or the flowing of the water will take away the topmost layer of the soil, and therefore it decrease the quality of the soil. Clear? Yes, up to this much, I guess it's totally clear. Yes, if you have any question, please ask me. Okay, now we will study about the most important thing. What are the main causes of the soil erosion? So, the most important cause of the soil erosion is the deforestation. If you just cut down all the trees, we already know the root of the trees actually help to, they grow under the ground and they help to hold the soil intact in a particular portion, right? So if we just cut down the trees, will the soil remain in that portion of the land for a long period of time? No. So that is the main cause of the soil erosion, that is deforestation, that is cutting down of the trees. If we cut down the trees, the root of the plants will not be able to hold that much amount of soil intact in a particular place, and that will lead to the soil erosion. Clear? Yes, so deforestation we should not do. Secondly, overgrazing of the like different animals, right? When the different herbivores go to the agricultural field and graze, so overgrazing, what will happen? Like result is they will reduce the mineral content of the soil or the nutrient content of the soil, and that will make the soil unfertile and the crops will not be able to grow, right? And when the crops will not be able to grow, again the topmost layer of the soil will be eroded, right? So the soil erosion will be result, right? Okay, now coming to the third cause, that is heavy rainfall and the strong wind. If there is no trees or no plants at all and there is very heavy rainfall and strong wind is blowing, what will happen though? With the help of the flowing water of the rain as well as the strong wind, they will just carry the topmost layer of the soil and it will be eroded over there, right? The soil will not be present over there, and the soil erosion will take place and it will go from that place to another place, right? So it will lead to the soil erosion. And fourthly, the improper agricultural practice. So you will study in the higher grades that there are certain steps which are followed by the farmers to mainly practice the agriculture. Okay, so there are the preparation of the soil, weeding, harvesting, the storage, the sowing. So various types of steps are there, right? So when they will not be able to maintain that properly, then the crops will not grow, and as a result of this type of agricultural practices, improper agricultural practices, what will happen? The soil erosion will take place. Clear hai? Up to this much, I guess it's totally fine. Yes, if you have any question, please ask me. Please write it in the chat box. Okay, now let us find out what should we do to control this soil erosion. So what we can do is we can plant more and more trees, right? So that the soil will remain together with the plants and the trees, and the total ecosystem will be maintained. All the microorganisms will be able to grow and survive over there. All the different animals also, like earthworm, centipede, millipede, also I've said about the rodents, or the other different insects like ants, whoever survive or whoever stay on the soil, they will be able to survive properly. And therefore it is always advised to please plant more and more trees and avoid deforestation to control a lot of different things, within which one is the soil erosion, right? We can control the soil erosion by planting more and more trees, right? Okay, so this is all about the chapter which you already have, and I guess I have explained all of them in the different sessions of the soil. So we have already completed 3 sessions of the soil. Now let us find out who can give me the correct answer first, right? So my first question is, which soil has the maximum water absorption capacity? Anybody, can you give me the correct answer? Yes. The clay soil, right? Very good. Coming to the next question, which property of the clay soil makes it suitable for growing the crops? Yes, the maximum absorption of the water help the clay soil to grow more and more amount of crops, right? Coming to the third question, so we have already studied about the percolation rate, right, in the previous session. So we have also studied over there how to calculate the percolation rate, right? So over here one sum is given about it, that it took 6 minutes for 600 milliliter of water to percolate through the soil. Percolate means infiltration, when the water goes through the soil, right? So can you tell me what will be the percolation rate of this soil? Yes, it is 600 milliliter of water we are giving. The amount of water divided by, we have seen that the time taken by the soil to absorb it, right? So 600 divided by 6 minutes, right? So what we will get? 100, right? So over here we can say that the percolation rate of this soil is 100 milliliter per minute. Clear, eh? Yes, up to this much clear. So how will you find out the percolation rate of a soil? I guess you will be able to do it. Yes. Okay, let's move on to the next question, which is the topmost layer of the soil. So we have already studied about the soil profile. We have studied about the 4 different layers of the soil. So which horizon actually comes at the topmost layer? It is the A horizon, right? Okay. Now moving to the fifth question, what is humus? Yes, humus is the dead organic materials which gives a dark coloration to the soil, as well as it increase the fertility of the soil. Clear hai? Okay, so let us find out the answers. So which soil has the maximum water absorption? It is the clay soil. Then what properties of the clay soil make it to suitable for the crops? It is the maximum absorption of water. Thirdly, it took like 100 milliliter per minute. It is the percolation rate of the soil to percolate the water, right? Yes. Fourth question, may we have done, what is the topmost layer of the soil? That is the A horizon. Yes. And the fifth question we have already discussed, that is what is humus. It is the rotting dead materials which are present in the soil, which actually increase the fertility of the soil and give a dark coloration to the soil, right? Okay, let us find out some more question. So what is soil erosion? If you get, what will you write? The removal of the topmost layer of the soil by the various types of physical forces like the air, water, or like the rainfall and all. This process is known as the soil erosion. Clear hai? Now, if you get a question like this, that what are the different causes of the soil erosion, what will you write? Yes, the various causes of the soil erosion we have already studied, we have explained in this session. These are the main four causes of the soil erosion. First of all is the deforestation, secondly, the overgrazing, thirdly, the improper agricultural practices, and fourthly, the heavy rainfall with strong wind, right? Yes. Okay, now let us find out some of the interesting fact about the soil and agriculture also. So the farmers will have to grow 70% more food than what is growing currently, okay, what it is producing currently to feed all the human being or the world's growing population by 2050. Okay, so as we already know that the population is increasing day by day again and again, and that is why the farmer need to grow 70% more food than what is growing now. Yes. Secondly, about 2% of the top 15 centimeter, or we can say that is also the 6 inches of the topsoil was being lost annually from some of the farms, and it decreases the agricultural productivity of those croplands by as much as 30%. Okay. Now let us move on to some of the question answer. Okay. So your first question is soil absorbs water due to its what? Based upon which factor actually soil will help to absorb the water? Yes, based on the porosity of the soil. That means how much pores are present within the soil, right? Clear hai? Okay, let's move on to the next question. Soil erosion of water is more severe in the barren land. Is it true or false? Barren land means when there is no trees at all over there, no crops at all. So soil erosion will be more or less. It will be always more, right? Exactly. So the statement is true. ठीक है? Yes, checked. Okay. Chalo, coming to the third question. It is a filling the blank, so you have to write down the answer over here in this box. So the substance made from the dead leaves and plants that helps plants to grow is known as what? It is known as humus, right? Clear hai? Chalo, check kar lete hain. This is the humus. And the last question is the soil that can be molded into any shape. What is that soil? We can make the different toys, we can make the different like the vases we can say, or the handi we can say, है ना? Yes. So which type of soil is that? Yes, it is the clay soil. Okay, so let's check. Yes, it's the clay soil. So let me see how much you have got. You have got 4 out of 4. Very nice. Okay, chalo. So we have already done this one. So let us move on to the challenge of the day. So your challenge of the day's first question is it a good practice to remove the grass and small plants that are growing in an open, unused field? Give reason to support your answer. Think and say, write it in the chat box. Yeah. Is it a good practice to remove the grass or whatever small plants are present in the open field? We have to remove it. No, it is not a good practice, right? Why? The plants cover the soil surface and their roots actually bind the soil particles and hold them in the intact place, in a proper place, right? And during the strong wind and the rain, what will happen? It prevent the soil from the soil erosion and thereby protect the topmost layer of the soil, which is the most productive layer. Clear hai? Chalo, let's move on to another challenge of the day. So here is a situation which is given. Just read through the situation and then give me the answers, right? So during a field trip, some students visited an agricultural farm and saw a few birds eating earthworms. So they enjoyed the scene and then they also started picking and killing the earthworms for pleasure. Seeing the crowd of the students in a corner, the teacher rushed to them to see the matter and objected to their action. Now, Anshul, one of the students, asked the reason. Why, ma'am, why are you telling us not to do this? The teacher smiled and explained him that the earthworm living in the soil is very beneficial for the farmers. We call them as the friend of the farmers, right? Farmer's friend. And Anshul wondered whether are there any other organisms also present in the soil. The teacher appreciated him and explained all of this, right? Now, can you give me this answer? Mention the importance of earthworm in the soil. So, what is the role of the earthworm in the soil? Do you know this? They help in making the rich humus in the soil, right? Okay. Now, coming to the second question, list some of the organisms mainly present in the soil. So, I have already mentioned about the names of the various types of organisms like the centipede, millipede, various types of insects like the ants. We can see the earthworms, right? The termites. These are all the different types of, and also the rodents, right? These are the different organisms which present in the soil as well as the microorganisms which we can only see under the microscope, right? Okay. Altogether, they help to maintain the fertility of the soil and fix the nitrogen in the soil. Okay, so that the crops will be able to grow properly. Now, coming to the third question, what are the values shown by Anshul? Over here, what is the value which is shown by Anshul? That is the student. Yes, we can find here that the curiosity to learn more about the soil and the different types of organisms present in the soil. We can see this type of value is present in Anshul, as well as we have seen the scientific attitude also, right? So this is all about today's challenge. So let us find out what we have already studied in today's session. We have already studied about the moisture content of the soil, how the different soil absorb the water, that is the water absorption by the different types of soil. Thirdly, we have studied about the soil, the different factors on which the soil actually grow in the different region, as well as the different types of crops which are growing in the soil. And lastly, we have studied about the soil erosion, what are the different bad effects of the soil erosion as well as the causes of soil erosion, right? So these are the different things which we have already studied in today's session. So let us find out a very short concept map which will help you to remember the whole chapter properly. So we have already studied about the soil. So the what is the soil? Soil is the upper layer of the earth which consists of a mixture of the different substances like the organic materials, the clay, rock particles, and all. Then we have studied about the vitality of the soil, that is the anchorage of the plants and supply the water and nutrients to the soil. Then we have studied about the soil profile, that includes all the different layers which are present within the soil. That is the first layer is the topmost layer of the top soil which is rich in humus and the minerals, and we can also call it as the A horizon. Secondly, we have studied about the second layer, that is the B horizon we call it, and it has a lesser amount of humus but more amount of minerals, and this layer is a little bit harder than the very first layer, right? Third layer is the horizon C we have studied, which is made up of mainly small rocks, right? And the last layer is the bedrock, right? So we have studied about all the four layers of the soil. Yes, then we have studied about the different properties of the soil, which includes the moisture content in the soil, how much water is present within the soil, how it is absorbing the water. We have also studied how it depends upon the different climatic factors, and that is why the soil grow means the soil is different in the different places. right? Then we have also studied about the types of the soil. There are three types of soil: clay soil, sandy soil, and the loamy soil, which is a mixture of the sand and clay with humus. And also we have studied about the different properties of these types of soil in detail. Right, and finally we have studied about the soil erosion, the different causes of the soil erosion, and the effects of soil erosion. What is soil erosion? It is the removal of the land or the topmost layer of the soil by the various activities or the various physical factors, like we can say, like the rainwater, heavy rainfall, or the water, or wind, or ice sometimes, right? So these are the different things which we have already completed in this chapter. And how to prevent the soil erosion by afforestation, we have already done this. Planting of more and more crops, more and more plants, we can prevent this type of soil erosion, right? So these are the different things which we have already discussed in the three main sessions of soil. So please go through all the sessions as we have already told you. Okay, so thank you for being with us, thank you for being with Swiflearn, and stay with us as you already do. I know that. Please subscribe our channel in YouTube, press the bell icon, and you will never miss any of the updates of the upcoming sessions of Swiflearn, right? So please stay with Swiflearn, like, comment, and share. We will again meet in some other session very soon. Okay, so till then, bye bye, take care, stay safe, and stay healthy. Bye bye.